All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into how you actually talk to a truly next-gen AI, GPT-5. Now, this model is a massive leap forward, but getting all that power out of it, that means we need a totally new way to communicate. So let's jump right in. So that's really the big question, isn't it? This isn't just about typing a question and getting an answer anymore. To really tap into what GPT-5 can do, you've got to understand how it thinks. And today, we're going to break down exactly how you can do that. And look, let's be clear, GPT-5 is not just some small update. It is way, way better at being agentic. And what that means is it can actually take complex actions all by itself. It's a much better coder, it has more raw brain power, and all of that means the old playbook for how to write prompts, you can pretty much toss it out the window. Okay, so that brings us to our first really big idea here. I want you to think about talking to GPT-5 like you're managing a new assistant. An assistant who is unbelievably talented, super capable, and maybe a little too eager. Your job isn't just to hand it a to-do list, it's to actually guide all that energy. Yeah, and the key term for this is something called agentic eagerness. Picture it like a dial, You can turn it to control just how much initiative the AI takes. So do you want it to stop and ask you for permission at every little roadblock? Or do you want it to push forward, make some smart assumptions, and just get the thing done? And this is where the strategy really kicks in. You've got these trade-offs, right? So if you want the AI to be super careful, really precise, to get it done right, then you dial that eagerness way down. That's perfect for tasks where you just can't have any mistakes. But if what you need is speed, you need it to work on its own for, say, a complicated research project, then you crank that eagerness dial all the way up. The goal there is to get it done fast, and you do that by letting the AI call the shots. And check this out. This is how you actually do that. This is part of a real prompt that pushes for more eagerness. It's basically like giving your super assistant a little pep talk, right? Hey, you're an agent. Keep going. Don't stop and bug me if you hit a snag. Just figure out what makes the most sense and run with it. You're basically giving it permission to be persistent. Okay, so that's the theory, but how does this whole eagerness thing actually work in the real world? Well, let's take a look at a super practical example, teaching the AI how to code. So, we've got this great case study from the folks at Cursor, the AI code editor. They got early access to GPT-5, and they quickly realized they had to totally redesign their prompts to get it to work right. It is a perfect, real-world example of what we're talking about. Just look at this side by side. For the old model GPT-4, they had to be super explicit like, hey, be thorough, get the full picture. But with GPT-5, which is already so proactive, that kind of command actually backfired. So the new prompt is much smarter. It kind of nudges the AI's own instincts, telling it, hey, if you're not sure, try to find the answer yourself. Lean towards not asking for help. And you can see the result right here. That old prompt, it made GPT-5 get stuck in these dumb loops where it would just search for stuff it already knew. But the new prompt, it completely fixed it. The AI started making much better decisions, using what it already knew first and only reaching for tools when it absolutely had to. It's a textbook case of a small change making a huge difference. Okay, so editing a bit of code, that's one thing. But what about the real dream, the holy grail? Can it build a whole app from scratch just from one request? Well, it turns out, yes, it can. But how it does it, that involves this wild internal process of self-reflection. This is basically its internal thought process. When you give it one of these self-reflection prompts to build an app, here's what happens. First, it secretly creates its own grading rubric for what a world-class app should be. Then it builds your app. After that, it grades its own work against that secret rubric. And get this, if the score isn't practically perfect, it just throws the whole thing in the trash and starts over from scratch. It keeps doing this until it gets it right. And all of this happens behind the scenes before you ever see a thing. So all of this leads to our next really important point. Because the AI is getting so good at following instructions, the quality of your instructions is more critical than ever. It's not just about writing a command anymore. It's really an art form. And here's the crazy part. It's a bit of a paradox. GPT-5 follows instructions so precisely that it's actually a double-edged sword. With an older model, if you wrote a sloppy, confusing prompt, it might just ignore the confusing part. But GPT-5? Oh no. It will try its absolute hardest to follow every single word, even if it's impossible. It'll just spin its wheels trying to solve a puzzle you didn't mean to give it. Here is a perfect real-world example of that. Imagine a prompt that says, Rule 1, never schedule an appointment without the patient's consent. Okay, clear enough. But then, a few lines down, it says, Rule 2, automatically assign the earliest open slot without contacting the patient. Wait, what? Which one is it? You've just given it a logic bomb, and the AI will get stuck trying to figure it out. And look at how simple the fix is. Just one tiny change. Instead of without contacting, you say, auto-assign the earliest slot after informing the patient. Boom, conflict solved. The logic is totally clear now, and the AI can just go and do its job perfectly. It just goes to show you, with this model, every single word you write really, really matters. Now, to help with these big, complicated, multi-step jobs, there's also a brand new tool called the Responses API. And the easiest way to think about this is it basically gives the AI a memory. So between each step of a task, it doesn't forget what it was doing. It doesn't have to rethink its whole plan from scratch every single time it takes an action. And we're not talking about a small change here. The numbers prove it. On a standard industry test, just switching to this new API boosted performance by more than 4%. Now, 4% might not sound like a lot, but in the world of AI, trust me, that is a massive jump in how reliable it is. All right, so we've talked about managing its eagerness, how to write clear instructions, and even how to give it a memory. But now we get to the really advanced stuff. This is, honestly, the most mind-bending technique of them all. Just think about this for a second. What if, instead of you banging your head against the wall trying to write the perfect prompt, you could just ask the AI to help you write it? This is the moment we stop just telling the AI what to do and start actually collaborating with it. This is what's called a meta prompt. It's amazing. You literally show the AI your own prompt. You say, okay, here's my instruction. Here's the good result I wanted to get, but here's the bad result it's actually giving me. And then you ask it, what tiny changes would you make to this prompt to fix these problems? You're literally asking the AI to critique your work and teach you how to be better at talking to it. So let's wrap this all up. If you remember nothing else, remember these 3 things. First, clarity is king. Fuzzy, confusing instructions are your absolute worst enemy with this thing. Second, context is crucial. You got to give the AI the background info it needs, whether that's rules about your code or just user preferences. And finally, and this is the big one, you have to collaborate, not just command. You got to start treating this AI like a partner you can reason with, not just a tool you boss around. And that really leaves us with one last big question to think about. We've spent all this time figuring out how to make the AI a better partner for us, a better assistant. So what does that mean for our side of the equation? If the AI is becoming a better collaborator, what new skills do we need to learn to keep up?